Attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good evening and welcome to Believe in the Journey podcast. My guest tonight is Mr. Zachary Williams Matthews, and he has a new book out that we're going to talk about. But, we can't do anything before we go to God in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us here as you do each and every night. Thank you for my guest tonight because the topic that we're going to be talking about with this book is definitely one that I think we all can relate to. Being of black and brown persuasion, it is definitely one of those topics that you do not want to miss. But God, I thank you for everything that you do. Let the words of our mouths fall upon the ears that need to hear. Without further ado, thank you, God. I thank you so much in your precious and holy name, Jesus, I pray. Now, with Mr. Zachary, listen, introduce yourself. Just do that first, and then we gonna start talking about this book. Just introduce yourself because we gotta talk about this book.
Hey, you guys, my name is Mr. Zachary Williams. I am 28 years old. I'm from the lovely city, Geechee Gullah, from Charleston, South Carolina. And I'm a bit of everything, man. Everything in between, man. Down to a poetry, down to a writer, down to a singer, down to a spoken word. Like, I'm getting my doctor's degree. So I'm pretty much everything. Especially I'm here alive and highly blessed and favored. So,
Yes,
a little bit about me.
that's all you gonna say. Now, there's a whole lot more you can say, but we just gonna get into the topic of this book. Now, you titled this book "Negroes: Black Before He Was Anything Else."
Yes, ma'am.
Now, listen, when I saw that title, I'm like, oh, okay. I know I have said plenty of times when somebody has tried to tell me what to do. Like they come up and like, well, I need you to do this. I don't need to do nothing but stay black and die. That is usually my answer. So when I saw that, I said, yeah, we got to talk about this. We definitely got to talk about this. So what made you title the book that?
Oh gosh, that is a good question because a lot of people might ask me a question I really don't want to get the answer to. But since we are doing an interview about this book, so I give you the exclusive why I chose this title. So the reason why I chose this title, Negro before Black before anything, because number one, back then the word Negro was so negative to me in
Mhm.
like the 1950 to 1960, especially when you were in the South. And
Right,
black people, anything because you are human first. As a child, you don't know your skin complexion as a baby. You growing
right.
up, you start learning about your ancestors, the where will you fit, the cook, to wear. But this book here, this title, I had wanted to shake up the room. I wanted people to start conversations. So somebody asked me like, Negroes? Like, are you sure about Negro? Like, why not? Like, we have to take the as black and
Right.
brown people and twist in our own way, in a good way. Like,
Yeah.
why not? Like, it's create conversation, people who don't look our past. And then
Right.
when they create conversation, you start to learn what they don't know so we can teach them. So why not name the book Negro for Black before anything else?
Exactly. I agree with that 100%. Simply because that's who you are. That's your DNA. That is who
Mhm.
you have been created to be. There's nothing about that you can go and alter or change at all. Yeah, there's the little skin lightening products and everything, but it still does not change the DNA of who you are. So
Amen.
having that, oh my gosh, just to name a book like that, that is definitely a conversation starter from the beginning, because people are going to give you that side eye and be like, I can't believe he did that,
Yeah.
but I
Listen,
can believe he did that.
listen. The amount of pushback on the title I got in fact from my colleagues and people who look
Hmm.
like it was like, oh, you should have did that. The book is not gonna sell. That's give you a bad reputation. Sometimes you have to learn how to take a leap of faith, and if you don't, who's gonna do it for you? And I know there's several books out there that has in this type of way, like like they said, they take a leap of
Hmm.
faith and they were successful with it. So why should I take a step
Right.
and be scared? No. I want something that represent me. I want to write something that represent my
Exactly.
ancestors that who've been here way before me to tell their story and future on. I don't care is it modern, I don't care is back then, I don't care is it like any part of history you go to. I don't care. You have to take a leap of faith. And girl, I can go on and on and on. And I think this should wait for that. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, they want to limit us in spaces and keep us in one.
All right, good.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, like you said, they want to limit our spaces and be in one spot. I'm like, yeah, you have to break the barrier. Like you have to break the uncomfortable space. If not, then you're gonna be stuck in a place that you feel comfortable in. Like God will give you chances after chances for you to take risks. You have to be able to take those chances, and if you don't, you are going to miss a blessing. So that's why I was like told and just named the title Negro for Black for anything else. So that's why I chose the title.
Broke the ice in so many ways and so many levels when you named that book and you stood on. It's not easy for a person to basically let go of the change that people want to hold them to and confine them to. So I know you had a lot of pushback because, even people of our own culture, they say, no, you're gonna push too many buttons, that's not safe for you to do. I know you heard that so many times.
Listen, I
Like,
love
how
taking
do
risks.
you handle that?
Listen, I love taking risks, man. I don't care if it's good or bad, man. I love taking risks because who doesn't, man? Like I said previously, you have to be able to be uncomfortable. And when you're
Right.
uncomfortable, you have to be 100 sure. Any black class you get, any like positive or negative, you gotta have that backbone after you take that leap of faith. If not, I don't know what to tell you.
Right. And if God gave it to you, you needed to do it because God gives you the vision. He's going to provide the provisions for you to see it through.
Mhm.
And had you just slept on it and be like, God, that's a little bit too risky, who are you to tell God that's too risky? Number one. Number two, if He gave it to you, He intended for you to birth it to make sure that it got out to the people that needed to hear it. And you holding on to something that He gave you would not be fair for the readers who are going to read this book, because I can't wait till June 19th. I'm ready. I know that's the release date. I am ready to get my copy so that I can see what all you put in there. Now, I don't want you to tell too much about the book,
Oh
but
no.
I do want you to give us a little bit about this book.
Let's see. So what we'll start off with something. So we was right before end date. So this character named Samuel, right?
Okay.
So Samuel, he grew up in Chicago. Um, Basically, his family was how can I put it? Not giving too much out. His family
Hmm.
wanted a better life for him. Him and his older sister. So they moved to Mississippi, and Samuel just had a culture shock change.
Okay.
And he met his best friend Isaiah, and things started going downhill when a southern white boy who died, and they got blamed for it. So
Okay. Okay.
so you go through the whole trials and tribulations, the pushback from the community, the KKK, and this really happened after Emmett Till, like cases, like after he died, he got hanged and they found him. This is right after that, and this case picked up
Oh,
in this small town. So
okay.
I just like this book will literally have you shocked, twists, turns. Like what? Like it will give you so much, and the support of the community inside this book is so
Hmm.
powerful. I tell people, this might be a fictional story, but it's a real life event in those people who are living now these days.
Hmm.
You have to understand, like having all white juries, no black person, it's all white jury, and you the only one black person, like can't get too much. I'm trying not to get too much.
Listen, okay, okay. Well, listen, we gonna shift the conversation a little bit along those lines of being in a space where you're the only person of color. And I know I've been in spaces where I've been the only person of color. In my jobs. Now, my very first management job, I was in retail.
Hmm.
And me being in retail for the longest, it was like we had a situation where, like, my manager, he came to me and I wasn't paying it any attention at all because it didn't matter. I was there to do my job. But he came to me one night, we were closing, and he was like, I want you to know that I'm trying to hire more people that look like you. My boss was white. And so
Hmm.
I was like, he said, but it's just not working out that way. And I said, I understand. I said, but you don't have to, you know, single me out because I am the only one here to say that you're trying. I said, I see you're not prejudiced, you're not racist, you're not any of those things because number one, you gave me a chance. This I was 19 years old. I knew nothing of management. I knew nothing of anything. I said, and you took a chance on me, to do this. I said, so he was like, yeah, but I just feel bad, and you're by yourself, and I know you like to, you would want some company of somebody who can sit and relate to you. I said, honey, I relate to anybody who relates to me. It don't have nothing to do with their skin color. I said, because I'm gonna talk to anybody if they're willing to talk to me and have a conversation. I said, but
Hmm.
you do what you do. If you get something in here that look like me, great. If you don't, oh well.
Okay.
Now I have been on the other end of that where it's like you need to smile more. You need to do this and you need to do that. And that's the part of me where it's like I don't need to do anything but stay black and die because what you're asking of me is to change who I am. I
Hmm.
don't have to smile because it makes you uncomfortable. If I want to sit at my desk and do my work, as long as the agenda for the day and my assignments are complete, why do I have to smile? Like that means nothing to me. So I'm not coming over there bothering you, telling you you need to tone it down because you too happy go lucky.
There
I'm
we
not
go.
doing that. So if I don't smiling today, that's okay. It's not that I want you. It's just my face.
I think you said it. I think you said it the best when you said, "I feel bad for you." Like when people of different races, that I'm like, "What do you mean you feel bad for me?" Because I don't need. I just don't understand still today that I need people that look like me to relate to me.
Hmm.
You can relate to anybody who comes in your life. Like we forget that we are human being first. Secondly, yeah, okay, you might not look like me, but we might have certain things in common. I'm like,
Right.
I have been in rooms where I was the only black person, and
Mhm.
people feel like you sure you good? They check up on you, be like, you sure you good? You need anything, Miss Ma'am? I'm good, Miss Ma'am.
Right.
I am giggling, laughing with you right now. We are having a conversation. Like, stop. I hate when like stop. My skin don't define me. My skin culture don't define me. Like,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then you make, and then when you bring it up, you make it awkward. You're making it feel
Yeah,
awkward right
exactly.
now. Like,
Yep.
what made you thought that I feel lonely? I'm like, it's okay. I don't need no people sometimes. Now I do understand when when we all get together, when we all get together, like especially we are in the room, we look for like our people, right? And be like, oh, okay, so
Right.
we see each other. Ah,
Mm-hmm. We gonna make a beeline to get to each other. We ain't gotta know you at all, but we finna have a conversation together. Like, how long you been here? How you
yeah,
know who you know in here? I mean, cause I am that person. I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna ask those questions because it's like, okay, I see you,
you
you
see
see
me.
me. What we finna talk about? Because we might be in here just scanning the room talking about people at the same time. But we gonna get to know each other and we gonna mingle amongst each
Uh-huh.
other.
And sometimes I just love us how we just like don't know each other from a can of paint, but we are like,
Yeah,
we here. I see you. I'm gonna make my rounds to you, and
yes,
we just sit there. And we just love on each other in the way how we would take ourselves with each other in our culture, you know,
yes,
and the way how other people who don't look like us don't understand. Like, maybe I don't have to know that person. That's fam. That's family.
that's my cousin.
That's my cousin.
That's my cousin right there.
That's my cousin. How you have to cut? Don't worry about that. See, you in my business.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
like you asking too many detailed
But
questions. That's my cousin. That's all you need to know.
but
Listen, that is my cousin. We are locked in for life, and
right.
that's how it is. And so it's like you learn to adjust to the spaces that you're in with the people that are there. And one thing that I've learned over the years in those spaces where you've been the only one, God placed you in that space for a
Mhm.
reason. And so you should never belittle yourself or make yourself invisible just to be accepted, because if it was not for God, you would not have been able to be in that space in the first place, because he's gonna order your steps and he's gonna place you in the spaces that you're supposed to be in at the exact moment. So I've had to learn that not to shrink myself down in those spaces, because that's what they wanted me to do. And I've had people tell me, that I'm difficult to deal with. Like currently where I work, I had one of the physicians come and tell me like she was switching over from working with another provider to being
Mhm.
on the shift that I was on. And
Mhm.
so she came up to me. This was probably after working with me for about 2 months or so. And she came up to me and she was like, I was told not to like you. And I was like, I'm sure you were. And I said, and I'm sure they told you not to like me because they think that I'm mean. And she was like, yep. I said, and what are your thoughts after you have gotten to know me for yourself? And she was like, well, you're not mean like they say. You're just very direct and to the point. And when things aren't going the way that they're supposed to in the office for the patients, you're going to say something about it. I said, exactly. I said, people who do not like correction are always going to think that the person who is correcting them is in the
It's
wrong
the
and that they're
problem.
mean. I said, I'm not that. I said, if we have patients, we open at 8 o'clock. If we have patients and their charts are up, you guys are still sitting in the back talking. It's 8:30. It's time for y'all to stop back there talking and
Exactly.
get to these patients, because our obligation is to help them, not sit around and talk. So if you can't walk and chew gum at the same time, which means if you can't multitask, you're in the wrong space. So they would get mad
Mhm.
at me for telling them to do that. And so I'm like, well, once you've gotten to know me for yourself, what is your opinion of me now? She was like, well, I love you. Because I love how you handle the things at the front desk. If somebody's not being respectful to the staff, you're going to step in and take care of that the way that it's supposed to without being rude or disrespectful. I said, that's what I'm supposed to do. I said, but like I said, those who don't like correction will always see it the other way.
You know what? And you know what? That sometimes they call us the problem. Like we are the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it's okay to sit back and relax. Sometimes when you have done all your work. So at my job, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm a account specialist, and I work for a water company.
Okay.
So I deal more as like the proceeds, like cash wise, credit cards,
Right.
debit cards coming in. So when I finish my work, I be chilling. But the main person, you always have that person on the job who think they is your boss, but technically they are not your boss. Baby, we get paid the
Right.
same way. We are on the same level. But but you telling the boss, oh, he ain't doing this or she ain't doing that. The same time, you not doing it. Like
Exactly.
make it make sense to make you look so make you look good. You have to bring another person down. So a person like me, you not gonna bring down. I'm sorry. I'm a type of person like
Right.
I said, I'm straight to the point. I'm very sassy. I am very outspoken. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
very that. But again, you are not going to dim my light because I don't understand. Like me and you in the same position. Like, what makes you think you better than me? As a matter of fact, you've been here for 10 years. I only been here for 3. Like, make it make sense. I'm doing more work than you ever did in your 10 years. And I'm just using this as an example as the fact that you too lazy to do your job. And I think
Right.
people have to understand that it's okay to change. It's okay to think change around around companies. It's for the better. Sometimes it might be the
Yeah.
worst. Sometimes you might bring in somebody you don't like, but they're here to do a job. Number one, we are not,
Yeah.
and I have to understand people like this. You are here to do the work. You're not here to make friends. If you make friends, that is okay. That is definitely okay if you get to that point. But you have to understand, you are there for you to do the job and go home.
Exactly.
Now,
Exactly.
if you make all our friends going, that's cool. We get that. Sometimes we need that sometimes to get through our day. Most other people
Mm-hmm.
don't like people. Then I just
Right.
don't okay. I just don't understand when people say they don't like people, but you work in customer service. You work
Well,
with people.
okay. Let
You
me
work with
explain.
people.
I'm not a people person. I'm really not. However, I can get along with anybody, and I love working with older people and children.
Oh, I can't do
But
people.
it's like
Mm-mm.
people that are around my age sometimes, and that little, I don't know if it's the millennials or whatever it is, some of them, they tear my nerves up in the sense of they think they know everything, and when you're trying to tell them something, they don't listen. So it's like it tears my nerves up, because I'm trying to give you the advice and the help that you need, and you still gonna say that you know. That's like me telling you, okay, don't go that way because it's a wall right there. And
But
you
you
like,
still
I
don't go
know it,
over
I
there.
know it. And then
Go
you
ahead.
still keep going, and then you hit the wall, and then you turning around and looking at me like I didn't tell you it was a wall right there. Like, but you knew. Right? You knew it was a wall because I told you, but you still gonna go and then turn around and get mad at me. See, that's what I mean when I don't like people like that.
All
That's
right.
what it is.
So I am more like so I don't like elderly people, right? I love when they respect me, I expect you to respect me. But the minute you get out of hand, like you know what? Because I understand, you gotta give this up to your elders. But the minute you call me out my name, and the minute you disrespect me, yes, ma'am, we got to go to and so because you not gonna disrespect me like that. because I work in a place where, how can I say this? I work in a rich area,
Mhm.
and I got people who do not look like me, who are
Mhm.
Caucasian,
Mhm.
think they know it all. Oh, because I'm young, I'm supposed to respect you. You can call me out my name. You can shout, you can scream, you can curse at me. You are barking up the wrong tree. And
Well, I think that is the older generation, like my parents type generation, that think that way because I have an uncle who is like that. He feels like just because he's older, that we are supposed to simply respect him, what he says and what he does and how he talks to you. And I'm like, sir, that's not how that goes. You have to give the respect that you're asking for. You can't demand it. If you say something to someone that they don't like, you can't get upset when they're telling you that they don't like what you said and how you handle the situation, because there's a right and a wrong way to handle it. And he blew up recently. Him and my son got into an argument because he was talking to my son. My youngest son is 22 years old,
hmm
and so he was asking my son a couple of questions about some things, and my son told him, he said, well, first off, because my uncle kept referring to him as a little boy, and he was like, yeah. And so my son said, he said, well, first off, I'm not that 7-year-old kid you met years ago. He said, I am a grown man. And if you want to have this conversation and to continue this conversation, we're going to respect each other. And so my
Okay.
uncle just kept trying to tell him that he was a little boy and that he needed to respect him. And so my son said, he said, now listen, I have tried to be respectful to you, but you keep trying to belittle me and down talk to me. He said, and I'm not going to let you do that. He said, when you met me, I was 7 years old and I was respectful then. He said, and I'm trying to be respectful now, but you're not allowing me to do that. You want me to respect what you're saying, but you're talking to me as if I don't have the right to correct you in how you're speaking to me. And so my uncle ended up getting mad and hanging up the phone on my son. And then he called me back and said that I was being disrespectful because I allowed my son to talk to him in that manner. I said, no, I allowed my son to defend himself against an adult who did not know how to communicate effectively. I said, my children have the right to speak to someone and take up for themselves if they feel like the person is speaking to them in a tone or in a manner which they don't feel is being respectful. I said,
hmm
so you want to say that since you're 60 something years old that he simply has to respect you because of your age, but you're not being respectful to him. And he was trying very well, and my son came to me and apologized. He was like, mom, sorry, I wasn't trying to go there. Son, you good with me, honey? You ain't got to apologize because you did what you were supposed to do.
And I think for that, like I totally understand him. So for me, my pet peeve is do not ever in your entire life call me a little boy. I am 28 years old. I pay my own bills. I go to work. I got a own place. Do not. Oh my gosh, that irks my nerve. Oh, they said good little boy. Do I look like a dog to you? Do I look like a
See,
dog?
yeah.
Like, so with my mom, right? So my mom is like, so I'm a like, so take me in a girl form. Like I'm my mom, right? I got my mom
Mhm.
like
Okay.
attitude. And do I have a bad attitude? I don't.
Okay.
No, you just gotta push me to the point. But the thing is, I remain respect. Like if I respect you, you should respect me. I don't care what age you at. Like for me, like I feel like you should respect anybody who they are. I don't care you
Right.
18 years old. I don't care you 67 years old. You would not disrespect me. You would not disrespect anybody because at the end of the day, you don't want to be disrespecting me. You just don't want to be disrespect. Because at the same time, if you don't know how to
Right.
communicate, then say that.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah. I
communication
agree with you 100% on that.
communication works both ways. Like if you don't know, like okay, so I take this from back old days. Like back then, they don't know how to communicate as now these days. Like they find hard ways to find
Mhm.
their words. When they don't like to admit when they are wrong. Because they be combative, like you know you wrong. You know you wrong. You just don't admit it. Now,
Right.
kids on the other hand, because number two, kids could be disrespectful. Now, kids could be misunderstand. Kids don't know how to communicate the same ways as adults do. And sometimes when you teach
Yeah.
little kids, you have to teach them the way how to communicate. Because this world the world we live in right
Hmm.
now is so soft. It is so very sensitive.
Yeah.
And we have
Yeah.
to be mindful of what we say to people now these days. Because you never know. You might say something to the wrong person and you might get shot, stabbed, run over by a car now these days. So we
Yeah.
have to be mindful of
Because
what we
people are definitely sensitive when it comes to certain things, but that's because they have not been talked to about how to regulate their emotions, number one, how to regulate their feelings, how to communicate it effectively so that they can get their point across without blowing up. And
girl, they
it's
have
hard.
to.
And so when most of these young teenagers are young adults, even older adults too, because some that are my age still don't know how to regulate their emotions and talk to people because they're quick to be offended but don't want to be corrected, and that's a problem. And it's like, if someone can't correct you or let you know that there's a better way to get your point across without being offended so quickly, because and I know tone of voice has a lot to play with that also, because sometimes the tone is what throws people off, because I know my tone sometimes is very harsh, but it's not intended to be that way, you know. But if I'm trying to get my point across, I have to be hardened in a sense, because number one, I'm only 4'8" in height, and then I look like a little kid. Most people don't believe that I'm 46 years old. So with that, yeah, I'm 46. I see your face. Yes, I am 46 years old.
You look
So
good. You look good for
thank
46.
you.
You look
So people look at me like I'm a little kid. And so it's like, I'm not a little kid, so my tone sometimes has to be hard so that they'll understand just how serious I am when I'm speaking. And so it's like, I'm not meaning it to be so hard, but I have to, because most of the time they're thinking, oh well, that's somebody's little kid.
so
No,
so I
I'm
have a
still kid.
so I have
I,
a question for you. So do you think your height plays a factor in like people not like respecting you as like as an adult, as a grown woman?
yeah, yeah, because okay, if you come to the event in July,
I am.
okay, now listen, I'm telling you how tall I am, which is technically short. So I'm 4'8". Don't be surprised because you see my pictures on Facebook and it looks like I'm at least 5'2". I am not. So I am not. I just know how to photograph myself to where I look taller, but I am not. But in spirit, I am about 7 feet tall. So you can't convince me otherwise. But that's just it.
I'm
So
pretty tall. I'm tall.
I'm
I'm real
short.
tall. I'm real tall. I'm tall. I'm real tall. If you meet me in person,
So
I'm tall.
4'8". How tall are you?
I'm about
'Cause,
5'10". 5'10", 5'11".
okay, both my boys are over 6 feet tall. They're like 6'2". So I
Yo,
come
so
to.
wait, when did get in trouble? Like how like did you
Oh, see, no, see, I didn't have to worry about that because my kids say that I'm crazy, and so I just give them that look, and they like, nah, we ain't finna play with you. And see, with my son, my oldest son, he was about 15 and he had done something to his younger brother. He, at this
Mhm.
time, he was taller than me, but he had did something that he was not supposed to do. And it made me really angry. So I jerked him up and his feet were off the floor. And so from that moment on, he said, "No, you
Oh,
crazy." I realized that you're again in
oh,
my life.
sorry.
So
No.
yeah, so I've never had that issue with them thinking, okay, well, I'm bigger than you now. I can take you. Yeah, no. But see, I also grew up with five boys. So I had no other choice but learn how to fight because it wasn't no crying.
Oh,
So,
you remind me, mama. Oh gosh, like you remind me mama, so much of my mama. So like, so it is. So it is. Well, nine of them. Nine. So there are four
okay,
boys. I think there are four girls, five boys. And my mom,
okay.
she's the baby. So she's a tomboy. Like she tussle. like
Uh-huh.
like just the way how you talk, you sound like my mama. Like he literally you sound like my mama. And like I'm taller than my mama too. But I would not try my mom. I want to fight my mama for no
Smart. You're smart. You're
reason.
definitely smart. Don't do it because it's not good for your health. You know, it's not good for your health to try
No, not there. Yes, ma'am. I might talk a lot. I might talk, some stuff to her. Might play with her because we like to go toe to toe to read each other. But in a fifth, mm-mm. And my
that.
mom
Yeah,
got
but you know
great.
how far to go. You're not gonna take it too far at all. Look, I just read one of the comments down there. My best friend talking about we all fall in line because she is mean. I am not mean at all. I am not me. I do mean what I say. But everything that I say to anybody that I love and care about, it comes from the heart. I'm
And
never
so
gonna
it is
say
not.
or do anything to put you in harm's way. I'm gonna push you to be the greatest version of yourself because that's what I see and that's what I want for anybody that comes in contact with me because I know what it feels like to be told that you're not good enough. So I want people who come in contact with me to know that you're good enough. And if I see that, I'm going to push it. I'm going to
And
make
I'm
sure that
glad
you
you
feel
said
welcome
that.
and around me.
And I'm glad you said that. Come, I'm telling you, this. Let me tell you, this right here, it's going to teach you. Like this book will be emotional. This book is going to be tough to read. This book gonna give you how your life. It gonna make you. It gonna make you look at your life and be like, huh. I can relate to this person in this book. And the main reason why I wrote this because I want somebody to get something out of it. Your life means something. As the same as mine, it means something. Like
Right,
it's telling you to go trace after your goal and do not give up and trust the process. I'm telling you, when you trust the process, things are gonna get rocky.
right,
Everybody's gonna turn it back on you. A lot of people's not gonna like what you do, and a lot of people are is gonna use you to get where they need to be at. But I'm gonna tell you that it is okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
right,
'Cause at the end of the day, I'm telling you, you are going to get the best version of yourself. And when you are self-aware of who you are as a person, nobody cannot take that away from you. Nobody. And in this book, like I said, like Samuel will go through this whole trial of PTSD, being scared, like having a crime that he didn't submit, like he didn't do. He was in the area of doing it. See, I'm giving you more insight of the story. He was in the area of doing it, but he didn't do it. So you have to learn how to have faith, especially having your friends and family who mean something to you, not just there just to be there, but who mean something to you and holding you down in the process. And like I said, I want people when they get this book, yeah, the title might maybe draw you in, made you second guess the book. But once you start reading that first page of the story and how this all come event, I'm telling you, you are going to fall in love with this book. You can be like, man, I understand. I can relate. Like I see what he goes
Look, I
through.
will be telling you about this book once I get it, because I'm be like, oh, Dad, listen, I'm on page 72 right now, and we got to talk about this. But I hope that when people do get this book, that they will be able to identify themselves, because I know it's hard for Black boys who have so many stripes against them. Number one, they're born Black. Number two, they're male. Number three, they're fighting themselves within, because they have been told to not show emotions, to not be emotional, to
Mhm.
control their emotions, and so many other things that they have to deal with, that you guys have to deal with, that is hard enough. And then to want to be accepted, number one, within self, number two, within family, within their siblings, within their households, within their jobs, and all of these things. It's so much that they're fighting against. Like, I wrote a poem called Little Black Child, and it
Mhm.
starts out where I'm talking about the three strikes that they have against them: the Black boy, Black girl. Number one, your number one strike is that you're born Black, and that's nothing that you could do to change that. You
Mhm.
know, that was how God saw for you to be on this earth, and that was his choice. And God doesn't make mistakes in who he created you to be, and he
Mhm.
put you. And
Mhm.
so being able to accept self first is going to be the major key. And I hope that the readers, when they do get this book, that they see themselves and can relate in that aspect of um, learning how to adjust, and not playing themselves small either, but owning who they are, and walking with intention, and walking in purpose, and on purpose, and
Mhm.
being intentional for everything that they do.
And it, like you said, like so each character in this story, and it's and it's so many characters in this story during the trials and after the trial. Like when you read the book, family will definitely come out to you, because you will definitely learn about the mother, you learn about the dad, you learn about the big sister who taught him how to read and write, or how to to be a man growing up. But also it talks about his friends, it talks
Mhm.
about the community. It talks about so many different things in this book, and the fact that when you get a chance to like read it, because each chapter is different, and then the fact that you get after the trial, you still have his life continuing going on and dealing with this down to his kids and down to a
Okay.
little bit of his grandkids. It don't say too much about his kid, like his kids and grandkids, but it gives you an insight at what they pick up growing up with him, like PTSD,
Okay, so
anxiety.
I'm hearing a part two to this book.
I want to say a part
So
two.
it's gonna be a part two.
It will not be a part two. It will be another version of this, but a female perspective.
Okay.
It's in the works.
Okay. So it's gonna be like a series.
Yeah, it is done. I'll say that for the first. It is done. It is done. The second part, the second book of this is done. Listen,
Okay.
you got to read this one now. You got to read this one. Telling you, once you read this one,
Okay. Well, we
you
gonna
will
read that one first.
listen.
We
What you
gonna read that one first. But
listen? You will
I'm just
understand
listening
it.
to the gems that you dropping. So I'm like, okay, so we got another part to this, especially when you start to talk about, you know, the continuation of his family, his children, his grandchildren, and all of that. So there has to be more,
So
from that standpoint. So I'm listening and I'm picking that up.
give you a little insight. One of his grandkids goes to the same situation, but how can I give this away? Not too much. Go to the same situation, But as a female type, as being, being molested, being pregnant by his or bruiser,
Mm-hmm.
and he's being white, and it's the same case going over and over. How she has the kid, did not keep the kid, so you get a little bit more into it.
Okay.
But I just
And see,
go
uh,
ahead.
that brings me back to a point that I don't think we discuss enough, and
Mm.
that is the curses that continue because we stay silent of what happens within our black families. And that is one thing that if it's not talked about, it's bound to repeat itself. So we have to be mindful of the things that we want to bury versus bringing out to the surface so that it can actually be dealt with and broken. So
Oh, I'm
you
glad.
got a lot going on with all of
I'm glad you say that because me and you that had listen. So anybody know, like I have interviewed this lovely girl like twice already, and we talked about this conversation like online and behind the scenes. We talk about this conversation, and
this.
it's important to have this conversation because breaking generation curse is so good. I'm telling you, it is so good because I'm a prime example of breaking
Yeah,
the curse. I'm a prime
yeah.
example because growing up, I was always telling me to be quiet, don't say nothing. Tell you, once I start getting older and speaking up, they did
Oh,
not like me at all. I talking about you not gonna keep me quiet. Because number one, if I told you such and such did this to me, or
mhm.
or I feel like, hey, my feelings got hurt by you, what you said, I'm gonna speak my mind, and that's the thing a lot of people don't understand. You have to be willing to speak your mind to
Yeah,
people who don't have the voice, especially when it comes to generation curse. Because you think about it, back then they sweep a lot of things under the rug. All right, don't. It's like how they go see, like, oh, we don't see it, so we don't believe it.
yeah, yeah. Blind
You a
item.
liar. You fib.
Yeah,
No, no, no. You can't say lying. You fibbing. Cause you say lying is disrespectful.
right, right. I remember that, and I can say that I broke the generational curse for my children, the three that I birthed. What happened? Where did that go?
I'm here.
Anyway, oh, okay. You were down on the other side. Okay, listen. I broke the generational curse for my children simply because I was told that I wasn't going to graduate high school.
Mm,
And my children were not going to do the same thing. My daughter was going to be pregnant before she finished high school because I was. However, my daughter finished school. She graduated college in 4 years. She didn't have no kids there. She now has a 2-year-old little girl. She's 28 years old. And my oldest son, he has a son. He graduated high school. He has a son. He didn't have no kids while he was in school. My youngest, he still don't have no kids. So I broke that curse because I spoke to my children about the traumas that I experienced because I didn't want them to hear it from someone else. I can
mm-hmm.
only be the one to tell my story for myself. So I tell my story. Now, that's another topic for a whole nother day. But before we get out of here, because we're running a little low on our time, so how can the readers and anybody who wants to get in touch with you, how can they do that? And tell them when this book is coming out.
Yes, ma'am. So you can reach me at I'm gonna tell you, I have TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. So I am part of the millennial generation. I'm gonna say hold on the end of the verse, like the year to the end. Like born in the '90s, but raised in the 2000s. I'm gonna put it like that. But you
Okay.
can find me on Facebook. It is Zachary Matthews Williams. Instagram Zachary Tech with 1T96. Same thing with Instagram, all that above. I'm telling y'all, this book will be on my website, including the other books I have out there. Book will be on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. Any books you go online will be out there. I'm telling you. And it's to tell you, it's not bad. I'm telling you. It's only $25. $25.
Listen, I'm gonna be paying my 25 to get this book because I have got to read this book. So
Girl, you ice
listen.
ski, ice
Thank
ski,
you.
ice ski.
I thank you for being here with me tonight. And even though I'm in the car, I'm traveling to the beach right now,
What we
but
gonna
I
do
could
together?
not let that stop me from doing this podcast at all because we had to talk about this. This was necessary. And we definitely will be talking again. So
Yes, ma'am.
before we go, y'all know I can't end my show without saying this, and that is stay out of God's business. The only thing God needs you to do is be obedient to what He's called you to do. Until next time, I'll see you guys next on June the 8th, and we'll be talking about sacred seeds of wisdom. I am a contributor and author of this book, so you do not want to miss
You
the
do not
show
want
with
to
those
miss.
ladies.
Tell
Yeah,
you do
you
not
don't
want to
want to
miss.
miss that.
Yes, you do.
Yes, they in for a treat for that.
Listen,
So
they are. I'm telling you. I got some people. Listen, I got the exclusive tea on my show. I'm telling y'all.
So y'all don't miss that show Sunday, June the 8th. We will be there. So we want you to be there too. Y'all have a good night. And Zach, we're gonna be talking more.
That's it.